Hey guys, it's Quinn, um, PTSD while black. I'm checking in because it's been a while since I've made an update video. So I've had some really weird stuff happen and some really good stuff happen. So first of all, I did my testing for epilepsy last week, and I've got an appointment with a doctor on the 26th, I believe. It's on a Saturday. At the last Saturday of the month, to get the results, finding out, do I have epilepsy, checking on uh, the nerve damage and stuff in my hand and all that stuff. So that was that, and it was a really intense test. It's like, had my eyes closed, and they had put this light up to the right side of my face, and it was just in my face the whole time. I was shocked like the first couple of times the light came on. And then after that, there was just a point where I was like, fuck it, this thing's just gonna do its thing. And um, as it was happening, I noticed like my left arm was like involuntarily shaking. So, and that's also the arm that I have muscle problems with. So I don't know what's going on with that. But after that test, I was feeling kind of like sick and having sensory issues, like I was having trouble with depth perception, and my taste buds were off. I was smelling stuff that wasn't there. It was just like weird. So I don't know what the results are going to be of that test. Then I had a weird moment of trying to once again schedule an appointment with the pain management office, uh, where, oh yeah, I was supposed to get an MRI of my knee, but the doctor's office had written down only an MRI of my shoulder, which my shoulder is a problem, but didn't include my knee. In fact, my physical therapist didn't get the inclusion of my knee, that's a problem for me. And I had to, like, I was making constant calls for a month trying to get that cleared up. And finally, I do have the appointment for the MRIs of both my knee and my shoulder for next Monday. But like in between trying to do that craziness, I was trying to schedule an appointment with this pain management doctor. And like it was kind of a thing, I'd leave a voicemail and then they would not respond for like a week and a half. And so I'm like calling again. And then finally I just started pushing buttons till I got a live person. And got transferred multiple times, and they were like, oh yeah, we don't have your medical information. I'm like, yeah, but I got this fax number and my doctor's office faxed this on October 3rd. They're like, yeah, well, we don't have it, so you need to tell your doctor's office to fax it again. I'm like, well, why don't you call my doctor's office and tell them to fax it again, just to make sure you give them the right number in case that I'm wrong, and then you can confirm that it's there. She's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'll just like leave them the number. Oh my God. And that was just, for me, I just broke down crying on the phone because I'm like, dear God, I've been in pain. Yeah, I pulled a muscle in my back that led to stuttering. Um, and so I was like in a lot of pain for like the last week or so. And this bitch was just like, no, I'm not gonna do that. So I'm like crying and I'm like, could you please just do this? I'm like, oh my God, I'd rather commit suicide than be on the phone with you and being in all this pain. And so she took it as if I was going to kill myself. And instead of calling my doctor's office and working with me or treating me as a patient, instead called the cops. And so here I am, at the computer and making appointments, and we get a knock on our front door from the police checking to make sure that I have not attempted suicide. I'm like, bitch, please. Honestly, if I were someone who was suicidal, to do that to a person that's in chronic pain, that would push somebody over the edge. That's not appropriate. I understand protocol, but yet there's a point where we put people above processes, that we treat people with respect and dignity, and we work with people. You don't need to escalate things like that. Stupid cunt. Anyway, so that was a thing. I'm like, yay, now I have a record for being in pain. So one of the wonderful suggestions from one of the officers is like, you can just ask your insurance for another pain management company. So we'll be doing that tomorrow. Uh, Today was the last day of my physical therapist, my last physical therapy appointment. And my therapist is actually moving on to another office. But what's really awesome, this little angel assigned me to another black woman as a physical therapist. So I'm like, that's super cool. And we just have to get more physical therapy appointments approved. So I'll just keep calling my insurance to make sure it gets done. Um, but she's really been challenging me, really been challenging. But I've been finding that my range of motion's a bit better. Um, I'm finding ways of relieving pressure on my back. I'm much more flexible. And in fact, what was really cool was I found like I went into one of my sessions stuttering from being in so much pain, and that like by the end of the session, I wasn't stuttering anymore. So that really tells me like that the stutter from the concussion is linked to the subject of pain, the amount of pain or uh, sensory overload that my body is going through. And also, I feel possibly with anxiety being built in with it too, the anxiety of feeling the pain. I think the PTSD is linked in with that. Um, so I'm hopeful that, being able to do more activity or whatever activity I can do will help my body to heal in this process. So I'm trying to find out what exercises that I can do comfortably and have a good set routine, so that I can continue to help myself in this process and stave off the remix times of the stutter. So that's cool. The last thing I wanted to share was today I had an appointment with my EMDR therapist, and we've been building kind of like resourcing positive memories in my life of places and my pets and family members, to kind of basically when trauma subjects come up, that I can immediately go to those resources of being able to climb up a mountain and see the entire city below, or um, watching my cats play with a feather, or this the one we did today was thinking about my favorite aunt and her garden and her flowers and her preserves that she made and how she liked to go yard selling. So that memory was used to map over kind of the trauma that I had this week of the medical insurance not trusting me, and then also my PTSD trauma and where my social anxiety really came from, excuse me, was not being trusted in high school when I played devil's advocate and during the whole Columbine shooting. And I'm like, I stated in class, I'm like, well, if you um, torture someone over and over again, you can't be surprised if that person acts out in some type of way. And people are like, but yeah, but killing people? I'm like, it's rational to someone who has been tortured. And they took me saying that as if I'm going to attack people. I'm like, bitch, really? Really? I don't have time for that. Um, so that that event in my life left me feeling very much so untrusted and not worthy. And I remember when I was um, at home, what really started the event that started my social anxiety was after that. I was not allowed to go to my prom, not allowed to go to um, graduation, even though I was an honor student. And so I had to finish the rest of the school year at home, which is like the shooting was in April, so like a month. I had to finish the school year at home, and it dropped my GPA. But I remember I was walking around the block, which is a form of self-care, and I always would walk to this church that was just up the street from where we lived. And someone saw me walking and called the cops on me. Walking in my own neighborhood to a church that is nearby and called the cops on me. And so that left me, as a teenager, feeling like I was untrustworthy. And which is really heartbreaking because I'm like, dude, let me do something. Shit, if I'm going to be guilty, fuck, let me steal something or like kick a camel. I don't know. But God. Anyway, so I talked to my therapist about this today, and so we did the EMDR technique. And I had went from crying over this memory and being like really feeling those feelings of not being trusted, and then like having that mapped over with the memory of my aunt who was supportive and taught me to love musicals, and you know, with her preserves that she made. And when I first got my own apartment, she sent me these pillowcases, and they smelled like her home. And so I had that scent, I had the taste of the preserves, I had the sound of the classical music and the musicals, Phantom of the Opera and Cats. I had the sights of her beautiful garden, the smell of the varnish from when she would replace paint on old tables from yard sales and then sell them again. I had all of those wonderful memories about my experiences with her, with being trusted, with being whole, with being loved and being connected. And I went from sobbing over bullshit to like just calm. It was amazing being super calm. Just doing an EMDR session. So I'm really excited for the prospects of finishing these sessions or completing these sessions. Unfortunately, I have a lot of traumas still to go through, but yeah, I'm excited for good things to come. Anyhow, this video is a little longer than what I would normally produce, but yeah, it's been a long time, no chat, so that's where Quinny is, and hopefully I'll have other good things to communicate in the future. All right, till next time, peace.